Welcome to the Teresa Harding podcast, where you will learn from one of the top leaders in the network marketing industry. Teresa Harding has grown her team to over millions of people. She's grown online and she's grown offline, and now she's ready to show you the secrets. So get ready to change the way you think. She truly cares about the success of her team and the people that she teaches. So get ready to learn the tips, tricks, and secrets that will allow you to grow a successful business in the 21st century.
I'm Teresa Harding, and this is the Teresa Harding Podcast. This podcast is for people who know that this industry is not about the network marketer anymore. It's about the people we serve and the change we can make in other people's lives. It's about the entrepreneur inside of each of us who's trying to find our voice. It's for the people who want to change the world and are looking for the most powerful way to make that happen. Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to continue our talk about offers. I'm so excited to talk to you about these. We are going to talk about physical items that you can put in your offer to make your product not just a product, not something that's the same as what everybody else is selling, but things that you can add to make it way more valuable. Now, this is perfect timing for me to be doing this podcast about this topic because right now I'm in the Mediterranean. I got to go on a cruise with a friend of mine. She actually earned it. And we were at the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which was so exciting. I had never been there before. And we got to go to Rome, to the Colosseum. I had been there before. We've been able to see a lot of amazing stuff. But you know in these places what they do. Right as you walk out, they have all these booths where you can buy all of this crazy, crazy stuff. Everything has a picture of the site. So, for example, at the Tower of Pisa, every single thing had a picture of the Leaning Tower of Pisa right on it. So, here I'm going to throw out some examples. Now, remember, I want you guys to add your comments, add any ideas, anything you hear on this podcast. If it makes you brainstorm, I want you to absolutely write it in the comments because it's going to help other people think of ideas, even if you think your idea is not good. I was just brainstorming with my friend who's on the trip with me, and as we were going through different things, she almost said something and then she didn't say it. And I'm like, no, right now we're just saying everything, even if you think it's not a good idea. And what was it that she said? I'm trying to remember now. When I get to it, I'll tell you. It was, she said a wallet. I don't know if that's a good idea or whatever. I said, no, don't worry about it and so we put that on the list and it made me start thinking of other things. It made me think of a money clip and whatever. So a lot of these things are things you'll recognize that you see people selling as souvenirs all the time. But sometimes people are pretty excited when it's a brand that they love. Like let's say that your company, they're all excited about the product that you guys have and they get something from you that has that logo on it or has some funny quote about the cool product. Or for example, it might be hashtag I'm a whatever. For us, we have the people who are on my team who are doing the online stuff that we're doing with us. We're game changers because we are changing people's lives and it changes the game. Changes the game for them. It changes the game for the people that they're working with. So it's a game changer. And so that is something that we'll put on some of our swag. Okay. So let's go through a list of some of the things that you can include. But what I want you to remember is that every time you add physical items, it's usually going to cost you more. So some of these things are going to be so cheap. And remember, after these next few podcasts, I'm going to do a podcast where I just tell you the amazing, cool sites that you can use for all of these things that I'm sharing with you. Websites, places you can buy things for really cheap, whatever. So make sure you're listening for that. So the list of physical stuff, and I want you to start commenting. Number 1, you could do a book. Well, what kind of book? Well, you could do obviously a copy of a physical book, whether that's maybe a recipe book that you made. And I'm not talking just recipes with food. I'm talking about, you might have recipes for us. Our product is a health product, so we have recipes that include different products that we have that go together for maybe a digestive health challenge. We have different products that go together for maybe people who have irritation or discomfort in their joints, that kind of stuff. So it could be a recipe book. If you do financial product, it might be a recipe book that this is the outline, or this is the checklist, the recipe if you're trying to day trade. This is the recipe for this. This is, these are the things that you check, whatever. So your recipe book can be done in 100 different ways depending on what your product is. It could be the ebook that you have that you send out that's digital, but you print it out and it looks all official. It looks really nice. It could be a workbook. I just thought of that, so I'm going to write it down because I didn't have that written. It could be a workbook that you do digitally, but you print it out and they get a hard copy. Could be a keychain, stickers, a purse with your logo on it. It could be a t-shirt, a hat, jacket. These are all different kinds of clothing. Socks with your logo, socks with a quote, socks that have to do something with what your product is. Maybe a towel or a hand towel, hair accessories. For example, people are doing those scrunchies now, or they like a rubber band, those flat rubber bands that can have words on them. You can put it on there. And you guys, you can get these for so cheap. So stay tuned to the podcast and I'll give you all that information in the next few, within the next few podcasts. So jewelry, you could do jewelry. What kind of jewelry? Let's list it out. You could do a charm bracelet. You could do a ring. A ring could be for a guy or a girl. You could do a necklace. You could do charms that get added to the charm bracelet, maybe for every piece of the product that they get, so that it makes them want to get the next piece. Could be cufflinks for guys or girls. It could be tie pins. I have the cutest Minnie Mouse cufflinks that I love for a shirt that I have that needs those. You could do the money clip, the wallet. You could do a bag, any kind of over-the-shoulder bag, any kind of purse, any kind of a man bag, whatever. You could do magnets. You could do those rubber bracelets that have the words on them that are either just printed on or embossed on there. A battery charger. You guys have seen those. I'm sure many of these things you guys have received from different companies in different situations where you bought something. So sunglasses. It could be, I'll give you an idea. I was thinking of this, scarf and driving gloves, and I'll tell you why. Because obviously you could do a scarf, but why driving gloves? Because we were taken on a trip by our company. This was for the top leaders in the company. We got to go to Italy. They took us to Italy for a week. And one of the things that they did for us, which was they surprised us one day, and they had rented those little mini Italian-looking cars for every couple that got to go. And so we totally followed each other. We got to drive around Italy in these cars. And we went to a place where we would, eat kind of like a picnic, but dinner style, where we got to sit and eat dinner. It was seriously like a dream, that what they did. It was awesome. And so when they announced that this is what we were doing, they gave us a scarf and driving gloves that kind of matched the whole theme. So of course the girls got very feminine driving gloves. The men got some leather, awesome manly driving gloves. But do you see how if you make it fit what you're doing, it can be a beautiful thing. And when you're buying things in bulk, you can get them much, much cheaper. So, and of course, this was for the big leaders in our company. So the company was spending a lot more money. You don't need to spend a lot of money on this stuff. You could do a holder for your product. If your product is something that needs a carry bag or a carry case or something like that, you can do a holder for that. If maybe your product is something where, like if it's a financial product and you're teaching them how to trade in the stocks and that kind of thing, then you may not need a carry bag for the product, but maybe there's some sort of a carry case or some sort of a notebook or something that would carry the information and those kinds of things that they need. A pen and a pencil, or one or the other. You could do a pin, P-I-N. A lot of people collect those little pins that go on your lapel. You could do a watch. You could do a certificate, a physical certificate where they earned something. And maybe you even have a series of certificates that makes them want to get the first certificate, and then they get to earn the next one and the next one. And then you could give them more of the same product. Because if you say, if you buy 2 of these, we'll give you 1 for free, that kind of thing. Now those, you need to make sure, if you're working in a network marketing company, you have to make sure that that's okay with your company. Because even if you have product that you could use for that, because sometimes we earn free product or things like that, then a lot of times that is not allowed. Do not ever do something that is not allowed. And sometimes even the things that are allowed, don't do it if it's not going to be absolutely beneficial for your company. What you need to think is, if every single person in my company did exactly what I'm doing, would it cause a problem for the company? because just because you're the first person who thought of it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be awesome for everyone. Now, in my situation, our team is over 70%, probably about 75% of the entire company. So a lot of times my quote rules are different than everyone else in the company. There are things I can't do that actually are allowed, because if I do it, it could hurt the company. Well, guess what? Then guess what I do? When there's a situation like that, I just carry that down to everybody on my team, everyone in my company. And the reason I do that is because if I have to have a higher standard and I can make my business work with a higher standard, then do you think everybody could make it work? So why not teach everyone the higher standard and do it that way? And then all of a sudden, your company gets a better reputation. People love what you stand for, and you run into way less problems. You don't have a problem later because 100 people started copying what you were doing, and now there's a problem. So think like that. Don't ever forget to think, if everyone in my company did exactly what I'm doing, would it cause a problem? And if it would, and if it could, don't do it. You can figure out a creative way to do it differently. Okay, so let's see. We talked about a battery charger, sunglasses, your holder for your product. Where was I? Let's see, a watch, a certificate, pocket knife. A pocket knife, it could be a keychain pocket knife. You could do lighters, because even people who don't smoke, sometimes people need lighters for their candles. Sometimes people need lighters for, all kinds of things. People need lighters for stuff that they're doing when they're camping. So a lighter can come in handy for anybody. First aid kit, Band-Aids with your logo on it, temporary tattoos. And it's funny because I'm just throwing out all the ideas that came up as we were brainstorming. And I want you to realize that how many of you have thought of something because of something I mentioned. I mentioned something, and maybe it's weird. Maybe you would never do Band-Aids with your logo on it. But it made you think of something cool that you thought, oh, but they might love this. So realize that when you are in brainstorming mode, don't shoot anything down, just write it all down. You could do a sewing kit, you could do chapstick, you could do candles, bath salts, bath bombs, playing cards with your logos on it, shoelaces, a flashlight. You could do something that has to do with software. You could maybe have an app that you create, a simple app, and yes, that can cost money, but once you have it made, now anybody, you can use that as part of your offer. That's not necessarily an actual physical product, but you could do another product that goes with the product that you sell. So for example, if your product is let's say it's makeup. If your product is makeup, then guess what you can do? You could do, and let's say your company doesn't sell makeup brushes. You could do a makeup brush kit, something that goes with it that makes it more fun or easier for them to use the product that they bought from you. So there are a ton of ideas. You guys, I am relying on you to add comments, because I want to help your list get longer, and I want you to help mine get longer, and I want you to help everybody who's listening, their list to get longer. Because realize that as we do this, everything we offer of value to everyone around us, it brings value back to us, and it allows us to make our offers better and different. Because do you see, the more ideas we have, the more your offer is going to be different than mine. Those of you who are listening who are in my company, guess what? I could easily say, no, I'm not going to share because they might use my idea. But guess what? The more I share, the more you create that attitude within your company and within this whole industry, within business in general. All of a sudden, people are helping each other, and we all grow together. So I want you to remember that. Hopefully this is stuff that's going to help you guys. Please leave your reviews if you're liking this podcast. If there are things that you want to hear on this podcast, let me know, because that helps me know what I should do the podcast about. Otherwise, I just do what I think you want, and I do what I know helped me. So I'll talk to you guys in the next episode.